This video is sponsored by Rocket Money. Baseball season is in full swing, and managing finances for the final push is the goal of many buyers at the deadline. For you though, you don't have to go all out to manage a budget, but having something to help out can make all the difference. Rocket Money offers the tools you need to manage your finances with ease. It's the Shohei Ohtani of finance platforms. A jack of all trades that helps you save more and spend less. A control panel where you can oversee all your transactions and payments. I've used it on more than one occasion to cancel subscriptions I wasn't using and to lower subscription payments. Yes, the app itself has saved me hundreds of dollars in the process. I know you're not a baseball team, but you can also use it to manage your budget, set up a smart savings account, and even check your credit score with regularity. 3.4 million people have joined Rocket Money to take control of their finances. And so can you. Go to rocketmoney.com/tree or click the link in the description to get started for free or unlock more features with premium. I reckon more than a few baseball teams could use Rocket Money to manage their finances. I think they know it as well. Let's go over all of them, shall we? Kids, this is why you need to cut everything down when you attempt to rebuild. The deeper you go, the better the chance you have at emerging like a phoenix from the ashes of doom. Like the Astros and Cubs before them, the Orioles have taken the mantle of how to properly rebuild a franchise. Years of pain have led to excitement around every corner. The young bats smacking everything in sight, with even more on the way. The 1-2 bullpen punch of Felix Bautista and Yennier Cano, probably the best in baseball with how they're pitching. Great revelations abound, but starting pitching still leaves something to be desired. Grayson Rodriguez isn't ready yet, and John Means is still in rehab. They don't have enough there to go far if they make the dance. The good news is that it's fixable. The deadline can help with that. A mediocre baseball team. A group that has flashes of brilliance but often leaves you wanting more in the long term. As weird as it sounds, this is pretty much what I expected out of the Red Sox this year. There are winning streaks where you believe, okay, this is the moment where the Boston of old returns. After you think that, they lose something like 6 of 7. The crabs in a bucket mentality, but with baseball players. A strong hitting outfield infused with Masataka Yoshida, but struggling in the infield minus Devers. A starting pitching core wrecked by injuries and underperformance. Corey Kluber ran out of gas. Chris Sale got injured long-term again. Let me put on my shocked face. To be fair, I'd be more optimistic about them if they weren't in the equivalent of Thunderdome. Probably win the AL Central for starters. This seems like bad luck. At least James Paxton's healthy for once. To a normal team, being a few games over 500 within striking distance of a wildcard berth would be seen as successful. Those teams aren't the Yankees. Their fans don't put sky-high expectations on themselves simply due to past reputation. Management and ownership may not spend like it, but it's World Series or bust. Usually bust. Hey, who needs competent hitting when Josh Donaldson needs his reps? Alarming regression from the likes of Stanton, LeMahieu, and Trevino isn't a big deal. They finally killed their whipping boy! Jimmy Cordero's a fucking idiot. The fact that Carlos Rodon hasn't pitched this season? He'll be back soon, plus they have Garrett Cole. Did you see Domingo Germán's perfect game against the Single A's? They're fine. That is, until you get to Aaron Judge. The hero of New York and pretty much the only player hitting anything has been struck down by a torn toe ligament. He's been out for over a month. And since he's been gone, the team's been Bronx Bob. As they've been sub 500 since his absence, they cry for his name in the night. The Yanks need him back as soon as possible. They won't survive otherwise. When you think of the Rays, you think of the cutting edge in small market baseball. You think of overcoming all odds to put together a good baseball team scrounging through the scrap heap. What I don't think of is destroying everything in their path. I don't think of a team that tied the record for most consecutive wins to start a year. And I certainly don't think of the endless massacre of baseballs. The long ball has become their strength, and their attack has been balanced. They have one of the best records in baseball for a reason. Their pitching has also been very strong, but cracks are showing in their white-hot exterior. The pressure is starting to break down their arms. Serious injuries are piling up in the ranks. Boz, Springs, Clevenger, Fleming, Rasmussen, and McClanahan for starters. It's forced them to go deep into the well for pitchers. And unfortunately, Boz, Springs, and Clevenger aren't coming back. Hope to God McClanahan's issues aren't long-term. It's at least back and not elbow. I'm happy for that as a fan of baseball. If last year was supposed to be the movie, what is this year supposed to be? A recreation of the Titanic? I never understood how a team that's over 500 could piss us all off, but by God, the Blue Jays found a way to do it. A consistent underachiever like this bunch is a truly model organization on how not to run a franchise. Ridiculously inconsistent. usually undone by their own doing. Strong Aprils and Junes undone by the shittiest of Mays. Making headlines for all the wrong reasons. A mercurial hitting lineup. And for those of you keeping score, the weakest link in the pitching staff isn't Jose Barrios. It's Alek Manoah. All the shitty talk before the year has only brought about him eating it. Once again, this team should be a lot better than what they are. And it angers me to no end that they haven't come close to reaching it. Who knows? Maybe one of these days they can beat fucking Boston for once.
Obviously, the experiment is over. The vast majority of the prospects have been bust. The product on the field is pathetic. We have exactly 2 players of excellence on this roster. Everyone else is nowhere near the kind of player they need to be to make this a winning team. The entire lineup is batting under 220. The best hitter on the team is Jake Berger. We're a AAA team. Our right fielders are hitting 180 with a weighted run created plus of 28. I don't even need to tell you about the pitching staff. Katz has got to go. Moncada, TA, Eloy, Yaz, Joe Kelly. It's week 4. They've all already been hurt. With the money we've spent, the players we have playing 500 ball should be underachieving. Not 11 games under 500. Firing Rick isn't enough. Firing Kenny isn't enough. If Chris Guest gets promoted and we have to sit through another 15-year retool rebuild, you're just going to hear from me again in 2038. I mean, Stoney is more worried about Lance Lynn eating a salad than the entire organization not knowing how to teach Major League prospects how to hit a baseball.
Any seasoned baseball shit poster can tell you to never trust Cleveland with anything besides choking. This has been a staple of this franchise for decades running. A division that should be relatively easy to win for this group has somehow become a bigger challenge than traversing the Amazon. It'd be easy to blame the regressive hitting back to shit they've been before. It's a major issue unless your name is Josh Naylor or Jose Ramirez. The real concern is pitching taking blow after blow. James Karinchak can't stop throwing meatballs. Zach Plesac's been DFA'd. Kyle Quantrill's lost at sea. Tristan McKenzie's been on perpetual 15-day IL for what seems to be months. The only thing that might explain Terry Francona's lineup deployments is Munchausen by proxy. Agony in its purest form. The sad part is they still have a legit chance to win the AL Comedy Central. Someone please make it stop. If you were to tell me that a team with hideously awful hitting and a pitching staff injured to hell and back had a legit shot to win a division, I'd throw you in a psych ward. Fortunately, this is the situation the Tigers are in. Let's get one thing straight, this team still fucking sucks. Perhaps I'd change my tune if they managed to get players to hit with any consistency. Riley Green was getting there before he got thrown on IL. Speaking of injuries, the starting rotation has been all but destroyed by them. Casey Mize is dealing with 2 major surgeries in his rehab. Tarek Skubal only debuted a few days ago. On brand, they lost that game to the goddamn A's. Any shot in the arm immediately squandered. The only positive, it somehow isn't as shit as it was last year. There was nowhere to go but up. At this point, I want them to win the AL Central if only for the sheer hilarity. Oakland may be taking all the attention, but the Royals are the motto meal to the A's General Mills. Off-brand, but the same caliber of shit in a bowl. They are awful in every conceivable metric. Can't pitch, can't hit, can't field, already trading off pieces in a great tank-off. Vinny Pasquantino was the only one who did anything on this team, which means he has to die for our sins. Chris Bubich as well. Don't even try to look for hope here. You'll be consumed by the darkness they're already in. The T's are truly an enigma. They have the same curse that Cleveland has. Whenever you believe they have a chance in hell of emerging from purgatory, they get complacent in the fires and recline in a rocking chair. Minnesota's close to leading the AL Central, but would you really consider them intimidating? Sure, their pitching's been excellent. Their rotation and bullpen are efficient machines. One of the best overall units in the game today. Doesn't mean shit if they only score 1 run and give up 3. It's both surprising and completely expected. Not a single regular in the T's lineup has an OPS over 800. Only 2 players have a batting average over 260. Byron Buxton hasn't been anywhere near his normal self. And neither is Correa. The yin to the Guardians' yang. Consistently squandering chances to emerge as the division favorite. Can we just relegate this whole group? It'd be better for our collective blood pressure. World Series hangovers are a hell of a thing. Is it bad if I say that a good chunk of it isn't their fault? Nearly everything that could go wrong for the Astros has. Bregman hasn't been anywhere close to his caliber. Altuve and Yordan can't get there because they've been injured most of the year. Michael Brantley hasn't even played yet. Jose Abreu was quite literally hot garbage for weeks at a time. Pitching's been really nice at least, as long as you don't notice that Jose Urquidy and Luis Garcia are on the 60-day IL. The only real positive I can say is that they're still within striking distance for the division, but they're nowhere close to true potential right now. That might be the scary part. Once they get reinforcements and trades and returning players, they could very well be representing the AL in the World Series yet again. Every time I hear about this team, the same goddamn scenario comes up. Shohei Ohtani's having the best individual season in the sport's history. Mike Trout is destroying worlds. Mickey Moniak is tearing the cover off the ball. Zach Neto's been a solid revelation in the middle infield. And team pitching's competent in a 5-3 loss against the Royals or something like that. Any chance they have at breaking out of their constant hell is instantly undone by a random skid or some form of Deus Ex Machina. Things are going well, too bad Logan O'Hoppy's out long term, among other pieces. You can recover? Nope, Jared Wolf suddenly can't hit Major League pitching. You want hope? Well, here's a losing skid to help you back to the pit. All that's missing is a major injury to Trout and the cycle will be complete. Right on cue. 4 to 8 weeks at best with a broken hamate bone? I'd say my goodbyes to Shohei while he's around. The team's shit. And the city of Oakland is down there with them. I had a feeling that ownership was plotting something. It was way too quiet on the Howard Terminal front. Which makes it all the better for them to announce a move to Las Vegas on a random weeknight in April. The stadium location's been picked out, designs are being drawn up, public funding has been secured. All that's missing is MLB's all but given blessing. We all know it's not the fans' fault for it, but with Rob Manfred's passive aggressiveness, their fate is set in stone. A glorified tourist trap for visiting fans in a soulless cavern that citizens of the city are lukewarm towards. Only one other thing to mention. Shintaro Fujinami. Woof. Did you like last season's respite from predictability? You only bought a trial run of it. We now return to our regularly scheduled dick punching. How foolish was it of me to think that the Mariners could repeat their success in consecutive years? Should know from history that's a rare occurrence. Nothing has reached full power, especially in the batting core. Most of their relied upon pieces have grossly underperformed. I'm looking right at you, Julio Rodriguez and Colton Wong. Come on, Jared Koenig's finally figured out Major League pitching and the rest of the team can't keep up? Their pitching has merely been so-so, but that could be because Robbie Ray's been wrecked by injury or Yordan, whatever you prefer. Can you not do this for once? I'm tired. We're all tired. Get your shit together. The Texas Rangers aren't walking mediocrity this season. About fucking time. I figured it'd take another season or two to hit their stride, but it's easy to dominate when Corey Seager's beating the ever-loving shit out of baseballs everywhere. It's not even a one-man show. A strong majority of the starting nine is an OPS over 800. To complement their bats, the gloves in the field have become one of the best units in baseball. But the real secret is in the mind powers of Bruce Bochy. I will argue his willed the many arms in their pitching graveyard to rise up and aid those on the mound at any given time. A torrid 40-20 start is testament to this fantastic renaissance. Or at least it should be. There is a touch of concern from my standing. They've been less than pedestrian for the past month. Their rivals to the south are creeping on them in the distance. In due time, they'll be ready to strike. Will they manage to get back to form? Or will they become a tragedy like Jacob deGrom has? I don't care if they were warned about his durability, it still sucks. Last postseason was a punch in the mouth that no one should have to experience. A team that should have gone much further proceeded to lose to a team playing with fire. Their solution is clear. Instead of licking your wounds, develop that fire for yourselves. From what this season's told us, the Braves have mastered such an art, destroying entire ecosystems with the talent they have on display. An elite class of hitters, the best in the league in terms of overall team power. Starting pitching showing us revelations abound, with Bryce Elder rising to the occasion, and Spencer Strider doing things that haven't been seen since a young Kerry Wood. His rise symbolizes the team so far. Domination. Since the start of June, the team has gone 25-4. That's not a typo. That's legitimate superiority. They just need a bit more in the rotation. Maybe it comes in the form of Mike Soroka returning from injury, but they need to replace Cal Wright and Max Fried. Put on your Sunday best, Atlanta. It's time to go shopping. Who the hell needs power in the lineup? When you have a group like this, apparently you can simply rely on Jorge Soler's renaissance for home runs. Mediocrity and questions about the future of the club washed away under the might of an impressive June swoon. On the back of Luis Arraez, anything is possible. The man has morphed from batting champion to the modern-day Tony Gwynn, perpetually teasing a 400 average for the year. And don't get me started on the pitching, that's always been a strength. Sandy Alcantara has some help in the rotation. Say hi to Jesus Luzardo, Braxton Garrett, and the young sensation known as Yuri Perez. Remember that last guy's name, he might be dominating opponents for a while to come. It's a much-needed rise for a team lost in the fog for a long time. I embrace it, but can they keep it up permanently? That's always the big test of a young team. I'd argue that getting Jazz Chisholm back would only help things. I just don't know if the center field experiment's going super well. At least it's going better than Gene Segura at third. You cannot escape your past. My feelings are once again wrong. Lowell Mets never truly died. It merely mutated into a different form. This free fall is fucking hilarious. The highest team salary in baseball's history. Endless splashes for big name and star power has only brought about the reincarnation of their 1992 season. Perpetual struggling and failures to launch only seen by the guts themselves on full display. The sad part is that one thing in particular can't be blamed. It's an everything problem. The hitting's inconsistent, Scherzer and Verlander are showing their age, Cookie Carrasco serving as namesake, the bullpen desperately misses Edwin Diaz, and their June was the stuff of nightmares. Tends to be par for the course. They always fall to shit around this time. As I said, you can't escape your past. This is another year where I don't know what the hell to think of this team. I look at their flaws and believe that they won't repeat the magic of last postseason. And early on that was the case. The hitter's struggling to find form and the team is literal garbage. 7 games under 500 garbage. Why do I say I don't know what to think? Though June will do that to me. They once again found that magic pixie dust they were snorting in October. On the back of a resurgent Nick Castellanos and a Trey Turner finding his hitting stroke, the Phillies have swung themselves back into the playoff conversation. This team is like Kyle Schwarber at the plate this year. All or nothing. They're an intriguing team, but can they maintain this form? Knowing Philly, that answer is harder to decipher than you might think. Nothing to see here, just the same old rebuilding that's been going on for a few seasons now. The only notable attractions are of the tragic variety. Want to be depressed about life? Just look up Steven Strasburg's season. He's been shut down again. His career may truly be over. All the Nats can do is try to pick up the pieces and hope a new core emerges. It obviously hasn't happened yet, but there's still time. Lord knows you'll have plenty of that to reflect on. Sometimes I wonder if the lovable losers moniker just took a vacation in 2016. Another season, another forgettable, mediocre team. Consistency. What the hell is it? Flashes of something more tantalizing bogged down in the mud over time. The likes of Stroman, Hendrickson, Justin Steele carrying the rotation only for Jameson Taillon to somehow fall to hell itself. That random freefall to end May, the Eric Hosmer experiment, it's just throwing shit on the wall hoping things stick. To be fair, some things have. Cody Bellinger's managed to hit the ball with some authority again. Christopher Morrill's been excellent at the plate, plus the bullpen's been as solid as it was last year. I just don't know if it's sustainable. Sadly, you can't play Pittsburgh every game. You know it's a cold day in hell when the fucking Reds are fighting for first place in the NL Central. I think at this point their fans are just relieved I'm not talking about Phil Castellini being a tone-deaf shit. Remember what I said at the beginning of the year about their intriguing prospect system? It's bearing incredible fruit. Matt McClain and Spencer Steer have looked like core pieces on the team. Andrew Abbott has near single-handedly saved a rotation dealing with serious injuries. And then you get to Ellie De La Cruz, the top prospect in all of baseball. He's shown his incredible upside in spades. Piss missiles off the bat, piss missiles with his arm, a piss missile cycle in the first month of his career. Just an endless barrage of piss missiles. By the way, say hi to Edwin's brother Alexis Diaz closing games in the bullpen. They offer a lot of tantalizing upside for the future, and could make some noise if the cards fall right. Joey Votto just has to sit back and enjoy the ride. The darkness of last year has somehow been vanquished. I still hate Phil Castellini, by the way. I'm not fooled by them competing for the division lead. This team isn't good. Have you seen how bad the NL Central is this year? It sucks chunks. And so do the Brew Crew in a lot of aspects. How am I supposed to take a team seriously when the hitting's been utterly underwhelming for about the 3rd year in a row? You'd say pitching would bail them out of destruction, but it really hasn't. Starting rotation's been quite spotty, and that's not even considering the future of Corbin Burns. Their bullpen's become surprisingly top-heavy. They reek of a team that just wants to do enough to get butts in the seats. If you make the playoffs, you're getting your ass kicked in the wildcard round, but great extra money! If not, Milwaukee can cry poor to baseball and say they can't afford to upgrade the stadium. MLB's pretty pissed about that, you know. We'll all be too if you don't up your game. My kingdom for some form of consistency with this team. That nice start they had was buoyed by a paper-soft schedule, to be fair, but reality has kinda smacked this team in the face. They led the NL Comedy Central in mid-June, which means that's good enough for them. Get back into the pit of misery. The teams kicking your ass this year are the Cubs and Brewers. We need our necessary whipping boys to make the rest of the teams feel better. Unlike you, who have to deal with O'Neal Cruz having a baseball IQ of 40 when it comes to sliding. As a fan, though, I'll take it. At least it isn't complete shit. And there are some pieces that could do something in the future, plus more in the farm system. Now we wait for the haul they'll get for Brian Reynolds in a trade. The Pirates paid a player for once? Jesus Christ, it's the apocalypse. You know, the Cardinals always struck me as a weirdly built team. Some elite pieces smattered with farmhands that may or may not thrive in a pitching core built off of soft tossers. Who knew that having 2 MVP caliber seasons and a legend turning back the clock for 2 months could mask a shitload of issues? I just didn't expect it to happen like this. Not with Arenado unable to perform to his standard. Not with most of the hitters having trouble gaining traction. Pitching, part of me kind of expected it. You seriously want me to believe 41-year-old Waino is still a staff ace? It's not just him, the whole pitching core has gone to shit! And it's apparently not due to how the team's built or how Oli Marmol is technically outmaneuvered in a game of tic-tac-toe. The Cardinals brass has a scapegoat in mind. Wilson Contreras. Nothing else is at fault, it's all Contreras. He's become a glorified DH in year 1 of his contract. As long as it prevents team management from being forced to look in the mirror, it's fine. Do you know the worst part? They're going to somehow bullshit a 12-game winning streak out of nowhere and compete for the division in spite of themselves. It always happens like that. I did call this team the sleeper of the National League in spring training. I expected them to be wildcard contenders, though. Not in my wildest dreams did I see them running with the NL West. They've taken their scorching pace through the end of last season and straight up ran with it. The infusion of young talent has done wonders for their franchise. Behold the future. Corbin Carroll, Geraldo Perdomo, and more eager to make their mark. Strong chorus around them aids in their quest. Think the likes of Ketel Marte, Lord Escorial, and Christian Walker. Marte ain't exactly a support piece either. Zach Gallen's still a goddamn stud. Merrill Kelly's good when he's healthy. The bullpen's been excellent. I don't know if they're truly ready to be great full-time, but this is a tremendous step in the right direction. There's only one thing to take care of. Matt Bum? You were a questionable signing to begin with, and now you're fucking cooked. Go on to the baseball afterlife, where you can drive all the dirt bikes you desire. Is there really any point in going over this team? They are who we thought they were. The only notable thing that happened was a long-term injury to German Marquez. They're bad and they're content with it. That's all there is. You're gonna play 500 ball, eh? Yeah, get the fuck out of here. On the surface, you believe that all's fine with the Dodgers. I mean, they're still near the top of the NL West. Mookie, Freddie, and Clayton are still their excellent selves. The hitting core is really solid. Why are you concerned? Same shit that happened last year. Endless barrages to the starting pitching. Dustin May was excellent until he got injured long-term again. Thor's unfortunately lost his lightning, and may never get it back. Their bullpen is surprisingly inconsistent for a Dodgers unit. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but Kershaw's on IL now as well. Traversing through issues in the pitching staff will be a challenge, especially since LA's at the point where they're scrounging through rubble to find competent arms. It's starting to hurt them a bit. They've been mediocre into June and July. They still absolutely have a chance to make noise, but they need some good luck to happen. For once. What the fuck is this supposed to be? Weren't you talking all this shit about how the Padres were going to finally overcome the boogeyman of the World Series this year? There's no real reason for it either. Team defense has been excellent. Pitching has been excellent. There have been excellent hitters in the lineup. So why the hell can't this team score any runs? Why are they so damn miserable in the clutch? Why are there so many underperforming parts? None of it makes any goddamn sense. This team's done nearly everything to win, yet this somehow happens. They're a good bit under 500, and their RSN deal lapsed. What the hell? Worst of all, there are some grumblings of discontent and turmoil in the locker room. If it were a blip, I'd ignore it, but this shit's happened before. All I'm gonna say is this. If they don't get their shit together, the 30 for 30 on this team in a decade is going to be must-watch. Sometimes you don't get what you want, but what you need. Losing out on Judge and Correa was a tough blow, but it hasn't affected San Fran's resolve. That 10-game winning streak in mid-June emphasized that in spades. They're back in wildcard contention at minimum, and that's good. The Giants are kings of taking random scrubs and washouts and turning them into legitimate ballplayers for the most part. It's played out again here. Lamonte Wade Jr. is revived to his past form. Patrick Bailey has become the heir apparent to Buster Posey. The hitting core's flush with depth, the starting rotation solid, and the bullpen's been predictably excellent. The only thing that scares me is this mini-skid they've been on as of late. This was the same shit that derailed them last year. And I hope it's not the case again. Please, I'll buy you candy.
Grounded to third. Donaldson has it. There it is! Perfection for Domingo Germán! Domingo Germán has thrown the 24th perfect game in baseball history.